So yeah, as Greg mentioned, we're kind of trying to unravel a process of reworking the rec program in a lot of ways for the better. And we're staging along it. We're not totally at that final product, but hopefully this spring is that first step. And then, especially once we get into the fall, we can have a really refined program and process for everybody involved. So part of that is a little bit of a change in structure in what we want from the sessions. People call it all different types of things. Play, practice, play is a name that gets used a lot in U.S. soccer. It can also evoke emotion. So if you've been involved for soccer for a long time, there are certain people who have, if you say play, practice, play, they stop listening to you. So, but essentially it's whole part whole, okay? And really the intent or purpose is to take advantage of small-sided games more, okay? So when, there's a ton of research done on this, but with respect to youth sports, not just youth soccer in general, a lot of research has shown that some of, not only some of the best players have come out of playing a lot of small-sided games when they were younger, but also that kids have the most fun when they're playing small-sided games when they're younger. And that's ultimately what we want to be, providing at least 1A or 1B, okay, is a ton of fun for everybody. So not only is it conducive, right, for those kids and their understanding, growing their relationship with the ball, with teammates, with the sport, and their love for it, but also it's in their interest developmentally as well. So what that looks like in practice is you show up to your field. Again, you get there very early, as Greg says, okay? For the first 10 minutes of that session, you split whoever you have in half, or if you have only 5 kids there, you play 3-on-2 or 2-on-2, that's okay. Do not use a neutral. I don't know. As you get older, maybe younger ones just play uneven numbers. It's fine. And you set them up on a smaller field. You take whatever size field you have, cut it in half. Let's say you have 8 or 10 there. You take and do 2-on-2 or 3-on-3, 2 games, 1 on each side. And that would be the first 10 minutes of your session, and you just kind of let them go. Okay, so you'd have pennies or whatever, and you'd let them go for 10 minutes. Then the next 20 minutes after that, you will spend working on a specific drill with a specific theme in mind that we have set out. So I'll talk about those in a second. And then obviously the last 30 minutes to 1 hour plus, depending on what age you are, will be spent playing your actual game, okay? So it essentially just narrows down a lot. Don't think of it that way, because it's really not doing it's doing less, but really doing more in the end. But narrows down your window as a coach in terms of what you demonstrate and work your players through to a 20-minute window after the small-sided games period of 10 minutes. And the 4 themes, so speaking about that, the 4 themes that we have chosen for that are dribbling, receiving, ball striking, and passing. That's a little bit out of order, I think. But yeah, dribbling, passing, receiving, and ball striking. Those are the 4 key cornerstones of technical skill as a soccer player. There's other things that kind of matter. I know time has been spent in the past on teaching positions. I don't think we need to be super interested in that. It's more just go out and play soccer, you know what I mean? Like through the game, you can kind of do some of that, but taking a day and teaching positions is just a waste of time that players could be touching a soccer ball. So why we chose those again is because those are the 4 key cornerstones. Heading matters as you get older, as you get younger. You don't want to be doing very much heading at all. And there's other things that are relevant, but those ones, if you ask any coach, those 4 areas are the key areas of a good soccer player, let's say. And the coaching points within those, all right? So we've preset in this resource that we have online now and that you will be able to access. We've preset coaching points within that. And the biggest thing is breaking down the technical skill required, the technical component, okay? What does it actually mean for me to hit a good pass? What does it actually mean for me to dribble a soccer ball? It's less about teammates and it's more about the technical skill. Are you able to convey and demonstrate, all right, with keywords, all right? Really via demonstration, that's the number one thing that kids learn from is demonstration. Are you able to demonstrate the skill and then reinforce that through use of keywords? Okay, so that's really what we want to hone in on, all right? There's been a lot of kind of everywhere, all over the place in the past, and we want to kind of hone that in on this is what is important for us as coaches to communicate to the kids that we are responsible for those Saturday mornings. And the other thing is those 4 themes, obviously if you're thinking those are only 4 weeks and we have an 8-week rec session. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to return to those themes, and I think we've reached that decision based on some feedback in the past. It allows you to return to those themes once throughout the rec season so that you are able to kind of check for understanding a little bit with the kids, okay? And reinforce again, all right, on what you talked about. You might use a different activity, right? You might use a different activity from the library that we have online. There's 3 for each technical area or for each theme. There's 3 drills listed. You might use a different one, but the coaching points and the technical skill component is the exact same. So the reason we did that is essentially so that we could kind of check for understanding on that. And again, those are really the 4 key skills, so we don't need to do a whole lot more than that. Now, when it comes to actually coaching and you yourself on the field for especially that 20 minutes, okay? But really it's that whole 30 minutes because you want to show up early so that you can just double check that you have everything you need on your field. That's the number one thing, okay? We will always do our best to make sure that you have absolutely everything, but there's no way to know that for certain unless you're actually there and double checking yourself. It also gives the opportunity to change a little bit of setup should you need it, okay? So it will go a long way for you to be showing up early to that. Be prepared ahead of time with your weekly theme, with your activity that you want to run, and then with your coaching points. Just make sure that you go into the Saturday morning with that already in your head, and ideally also print it out on paper in some way or written out in some way, whatever you need to best remind you, but just so that you have that top of mind and that we're not, I think with not all these, we could do more and we will do more in the future, but with these resources that we have now, it's really easy to come prepared with something already there, okay, because we have it online for you. So that's important. The last thing, or another thing that's really important, which I kind of touched on already, is demonstration. And if I forget one more time, demonstration. Please be able to demonstrate the skill that we are talking about, okay? So when it's inside, when we're working on passing, right? Be able to demonstrate what it means to be, heel down, toes up, locked ankle, inside the foot, all right? That will go the longest way of anything else that you do as a coach, is if you are able to show that to your players that you have with you. The other thing, okay, 2 more. One is your voice matters a ton. This is something that as I've coached, you see it more and more, let's say. If the weekly theme is passing, how much good would it do to tell 5 different players what a nice shot they have, right? Because at that point, you're now taking their attention away from passing and you're bringing it to the shooting. And there's 2 weeks that we have shooting or ball striking as a weekly theme. So you want to try, and some of that is okay because you want to be encouraging your kids, and when they exhibit good behaviors or behaviors that are good as soccer players, you want to be encouraging that, but try to toe the line a little bit between staying on theme and doing a ton of that, right? Try to pick out moments where if the weekly theme is passing, you're reinforcing, all right, a good decision that they made on a pass, or you're reinforcing the ball speed, how quickly it got there. You're reinforcing the technique. You're saying, way to be, heels down, toes up on that, for example. If you try to stay on topic as much as possible with that, that will keep the kids engaged on what we're actually there to be working on that day. And then the last thing is you want to, with your activity, even the ones that are built online, based on your group and who you have in front of you, the numbers, the players that are there, things can change and it can look different. You could run the exact same activity with the same age group, but if you have a different number or set of players there, it could look completely different from week to week. So you want to be able to, as a coach, this is where you have flexibility and autonomy. You have the ability to make small tweaks here and there so that you get the best out of it for the players, in relation to the theme only though. And that's the key. So you want to be assessing, if the theme of the week is receiving, you want to be assessing mainly, are players getting enough repetition receiving a soccer ball in that activity? And if they're not, how can we adjust it so that they are? right? So it might be that I might split the group in half from what it is right now so that there's 2 separate grids working at the same thing. So that now there's more repetition and less people in line. That's one example, but it can be a million different things, all right? And that's where you have that autonomy and flexibility, but please, 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 in relation to the theme of the week only, all right? That's the key. That's all I got. I hope all that makes sense. I'm more than happy to answer questions, and then at some point we'll go do the demo session where I need some volunteers. You won't have to work too hard. You can do it at walking speed, but Casey signing up to If anyone has any questions, feel free to put your hand up. Also, if they come up, same as Katie and Greg, if they come up as things go, feedback's super important to us. So please feel free to give that to any one of us, because that's how we ultimately will make this a better experience for the kids and everyone else as well. So if we're good, like, let's just head out there then.
Enthusiasm. Remember?
Yeah?
No, say that.
Oh.
Enthusiasm during the session.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Fair.
okay.